Hello, YouTube. How are you doing? And hello, Facebook. How are you doing? Like I said, it is a full house today. Absolutely loving it. If you're here, please put a hello or an emoji or something in the comments below so I know you're here with me. We have a really excellent video going on today. So we're going to talk about the energies that are going on today. So before that, my name is Corinne Clapham. I'm a transformational wellness coach, and within that, I'm also a Reiki master, yoga and meditation instructor, amongst a lot of other healing modalities within it. So what we're going to talk about, hey Wayne, how's it going? I was just thinking about you today. Serendipitous. Here we go. Glad to see you're here. So we're going to talk about what is going on today. Today is very exciting. We have a lot of different things going on. We have the lunar eclipse that we have going on and the full moon, and this is happening in Capricorn. And we're just coming out of the new moon and the solar eclipse that was happening in Cancer. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that in one moment. What we also have going on here is we have been in Mercury in retrograde. This has been going on since July 7th. This will be going on until July 31st, and then we have the post-shadow retrograde that's happening, and that is going on till August 15th. So just to expand a little bit more on Mercury retrograde, what the post-shadow is, and then we'll talk about the other stuff that's going on in a moment. So Mercury in retrograde, it's commonly known for, sometimes it has a bad rap, actually. Sorry, I just saw my crystal here, and I feel like holding on to it. It gets a bad rap. So here's the thing, like with Mercury, it's known for communication, and it's known for time and travel. And so here's the thing, sometimes there's a little bit of glitches because what's going on, it's almost like Mercury, it almost slows down so slow, it gives the impression that it's going backwards, but it's not actually going backwards. It's just that the planets are moving different directions and at a very slow speed, so it gives off that kind of impression. But when that's happening, what tends to happen is, because we're made up of a good portion of water, right? So we feel a lot of the energies that are going on, even energetically, and what's going up in the solar space, what's going on with the planets and with the sun and the moons. And especially if you're very like empaths, or you're very sensitive to energies, like you can feel it very easily, like you'll probably be a lot more prone to feeling when these things are going on. And so with Mercury in retrograde, it's a really good time where it's almost like we start reviewing and re-looking at things, sometimes from the past, but even in our current position. So it's almost like we're reassessing and revisiting. For a lot of you, you may even been going through a time where you've been actually purging and going through all your stuff in your home and seeing what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. That's been a really common theme. And sometimes exes come back into the picture. And it's really an opportunity for us to move back and to relook at things and see any loose knots, any loose strings that are there that we need to kind of clean up and tie up so we can fully move forward once we go forward again. And so this will be ending July 31st, and then we have the after shadow, the post shadow of it. So sometimes in my other videos, I talk about how we have like a full moon hangover or something like that. And that's when it's like, even though we've passed that date, we passed the Mercury retrograde, or we passed the full moon, we still feel kind of a little bit wonky. I call that like the hangover. We feel like this residue of what's going on. And I love this analogy that I heard, that if we think about the Mercury retrograde, when the planet starts to go direct again, it still takes time for things to stabilize. And the analogy I'm going to share with you that I heard that I absolutely love is, if you think about when you go traveling and you're on vacation or traveling and you come home, there's always like those couple of days that you need where you need to just kind of like get settled back in and get rerouted and get stabilized and get grounded and just kind of work out any kinks, like doing your laundry and getting things organized again. So it's kind of the same thing when Mercury's going back into direct. There needs a little bit of time for things to kind of shift and kind of like get its groove back and get that stability back. So that's what's going on with Mercury retrograde. With that, you want to pay extra attention. It's not anything to fear. I know a lot of people fear when they hear it's coming, but I think if you're more aware of some of the things that can happen or that may happen, then we can be a little bit more prepared for it. And also, if we know that a lot of people are going through it, it's nothing personal. Sometimes we're able to actually like move through it with a little bit more ease rather than taking it personal. So some things that are very common is sorry, it sounded like it was raining out there. Some things that are very common, excuse me, is miscommunication. So during Mercury in retrograde, it's really good to kind of watch what we're saying or how we're delivering things, but also maybe have a little bit more openness if you read something or someone says something, instead of like jumping right on it or internalizing it a certain way, maybe just kind of give that time to breathe and to relook at it, and maybe just realize sometimes our communication during this time could be not as clear as it normally is on both ends, whether you are the communicator or the one that's receiving. So if we can just kind of allow that time to breathe in that space of a little bit more compassion and openness, rather than just like immediately perceiving it a certain way. The other thing is traveling. So if you're traveling during that time, it's just really, really allowing yourself more time than you normally would. So if there's any glitches or anything that's going on, you have that extra time to work with, and then you won't be as stressed. Double check your flights and everything before going. I mean, that's something you normally want to do anyways, even when we're not Mercury in retrograde. I've had it where my connecting flight was changed from San Diego to Vancouver. So it's quite a bit of a difference. And there was a time change, obviously, with that when the flight was leaving. So we want to always double check those things, but especially during Mercury in retrograde, always check that you have your passports and everything there. And oh yes, and technology. So that's the other thing. Sometimes, and you may have already noticed it, like technological glitches. So things with your phone, sometimes things with your laptop and things that you're working on. So again, just allowing yourself that more time to work on things in case there's a little bit glitches or things freeze. And I know there's been quite a lot of issues for people that I know that have been going through that, myself included. So just do know it's not just you, and like, you know, just allow yourself that more patience towards yourself through it. Okay, so that is Mercury in retrograde. Now, we just came out of a solar eclipse. So we have solar eclipses, we have lunar eclipses, and usually when we have any of the kind of eclipses, the power is so much more potent in the new moon or the full moons that we're going through. This is also the last eclipse that we are going through this year as well. Hey, Spice Jones, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Hey, Jonathan, nice to see you. Hey, Arnold, I love how you guys are all popping on. So we're just talking about the astrological energies that we're going through. I just talked about Mercury in retrograde, and now I'm just briefly touching on how July 2nd, we went into the new moon and the solar eclipse, and that was in Cancer. So with Cancer, that's more of like focusing more on personal life, more on like emotional depth, more parental instincts. It's almost like more feminine kind of energies. So we're really tuned in and tapped into our emotions and going with the flow and leading and making decisions more based on our emotions. Jonathan says he's Cancer. Awesome. So let me know how you've been feeling the past in July, because that's the new moon was in your chart, in your sign. And so even now in this new phase that we're going into, Cancers and Capricorns will probably feel it the most, the energies that are going on. Which is not a bad thing, but you can use that to harness the energies and the things that you want to manifest into your life. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So Cancer is like more of like the feminine kind of energies. Jonathan says very tingly, especially when I meditate. Okay, cool. So is it tingly like more physically, like, you know, when your foot goes to sleep or something like that? Or sometimes we're in a yoga pose, we get like tingles in our feet and hands, which is kind of usually an indication to ease out of the pose. Or if we have our arms up, to kind of lower it a little bit, and that will diminish the feeling, because usually what happens, there's something just on a nerve and it's not, the circulation's not going as well, or is it a different kind of tingly? Let me know where you're feeling that. And Spice Jones says, last couple of days, all I want to do is sleep, and her head is killing her. Okay, big time, big time. So many people have been feeling so tired, including myself. That is completely normal. Like, so tired. I can't even believe how extreme it has been. And I actually had a friend visiting from out of town all weekend. So I was like, it was her first time in Toronto, and I was kind of, I had to like host her, and I wanted it to be an amazing weekend, but I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. All I want to do is sleep. And headaches was a really big thing as well. So, that's probably why your head was hurting you. And so really, like, this is what I'm telling you, a lot of our bodies are made out of a large percentage of water. So when we have a lot of things that are shifting and moving energetically with the planets and things, we feel it. And so really, like, we just have to kind of ebb and flow and just do what we can to nurture and nourish our body and our minds and souls. So like taking that rest whenever you can, if your body's calling for it, definitely up your meditation, up your healthy foods that you're eating and you're drinking. Jonathan says different, and yes, the fatigue is there too. Yeah. So today we are moving into a full moon. This is known as the buck moon or the thunder moon. And so each moon has a name. This is from the Old Farmer's Almanac. And actually, I feel like there's other names to moons as well that are given by the indigenous as well. And so it's really neat to actually see what those names are. They all have some sort of symbolism and what's going on. So the reason why the buck moon is called that by them is because this time of year is when the buck's antlers are fully grown. And the thunder moon is because we tend to, or according to them, we tend to have frequent thunderstorms going on. By the way, were any of you guys in that on Saturday? I was at the beach and totally got caught in that rainstorm. That was insane. So moving on, we're in the full moon and we are going into Capricorn. So Capricorn is all about like ambitious, realistic, practical. It's more of like the masculine kind of energies. So whereas the Cancer kind of will be more tuned in and tapped into emotionally and like making those decisions from there. When we're looking at more masculine energies, we're looking at things like more realistic, more practical, and like making decisions from there. So really during this time, we want to kind of just check in with ourselves and ask ourselves just kind of reassess, like, how much are you in your feminine energy and how much are you in your masculine energy? And if there's any balancing that you need to do. And, you know, we're never just like 100% balanced all the time. It's kind of like your house, you know what I mean? You clean your house and you get it organized. And then over time, things get a little bit messy because you get busy and you do things, and then you have to clean it again. It's never just like clean once and that's it. It's clean forever. So just be very patient with yourself when you're kind of going through this movement and this ebb and this flow, and the pendulum is moving one way to the other. It's just kind of where can you find that middle ground? And it's most importantly is having the awareness when you're swinging too much so you can bring it back to center. It's the same thing with our meditation. We're probably always going to have thoughts creep in, but it's a matter of having the awareness and bringing it back to the present moment. So we have the full moon. Another element of the full moon is with full moons, it's a really good time where we start reflecting and looking at things. So if you think about the full moon, it's bringing the light and it's illuminating it on all the dark places, all the dark shadows that are within us as well. So if you start to notice more, hey Townley, how's it going? If you start to notice that you're just noticing a lot more things, whether it's habits, patterns, maybe you're feeling more triggered, just know it's like things aren't happening against you. It's just that things are getting more illuminated so it can show you what is here. And then once you see that and it's brought up to the surface, you can heal it. You can decide if you want to keep it or let go of it. Okay, or if you need to do any forgiveness around it. So there are really opportunities for you to kind of clean your inner temple and your inner house. And so once we do that with the full moon, and this one is really, really potent because we have the lunar eclipse as well. So that just like magnetizes everything. And that's not a bad thing, and it's not to fear that, but use this energy. This is why people have been feeling things so much on a physical level the past couple of weeks. It's like, this is really potent. We just had a solar eclipse and now we're a lunar eclipse. So everything has been a lot more magnified and magnetized. So if we can use it to our benefit and really just take stock of all these things that are coming up and having as opportunities to clean our inner temple and our inner mind and see what's working, what's not working. And then really, I do encourage you today or tonight to take some time and focus on what it is that hey, Emily, what it is that you do want to bring more into your life. So you kind of already done, it's kind of like when you're cleaning your house, you start pulling things out of your closet and things seem more messier than cleaner, but there's always that stage where it's a little bit messier because you're taking out things and you're starting to see what was in that closet. And you're starting to see what you want to keep or take or throw out or whatever it is. And then eventually, once you do that, you just created more space. So when we're doing that with ourselves, with our habits, our triggers, our patterns, when we heal that and we release it and we let go of it, we just created more space within ourselves, just like you would with your closet. And then now you get to decide what you want to bring more in it, right? So new clothes or whatever. So that's what we're talking about as the closet as an analogy. But if you talk about yourself, what is it that you want to bring more of in your life? Hey, Ada, how's it going? What do you want to bring more into? Think about what is it that you want to bring more into the next 6 months of this phase that we have going on. And sometimes if you don't know what it is that you do want, sometimes looking at the things that haven't been working for you will give you a good indication in what you do want because you just flip it, right? It's the same thing of, sometimes when we're dating people, they can really show us, how to be a better partner for the next person, but also it shows us what we want a little bit more specifically in a partner as well. So if you start to see the things that you do like, great. Put that on a piece of paper and you can call that your vortex. Esther and Abraham Hicks, they always use that term, the vortex. You can just think about it as your basket of wishes. And so put what it is that you want in there. And just using the dating analogy here, the things that doesn't work, let's find an example here. Like say someone is very negative, and that doesn't sit well with you. And you're realizing this isn't really working for me to be with this person. And so knowing that tells you something. It tells you that being around someone who's healthy and in a balanced state is very important for you. Not that we don't all have moments of negativity, but if someone is in a very unhappy place and hasn't done the inner work and starts to deflect it on you and other people, like that's, you have to make a decision if you want that in your life or not. So using what doesn't work as well can indicate what you do want. You flip that into a positive, and then you put that in your vortex or in your basket. And just focus on what it is that you're putting in there, that it is on what you do want, not on what you don't want. So there we have it. This is a really amazing, amazing day to just kind of take some time for yourself and just really listen to your body. Like I know a lot of you guys have been feeling super tired and headaches, and I have been too. And we also have the hot weather as well. So really just keep yourself hydrated, nourish your mind, your body, and your soul. And also, I just wanted to share, I felt called today to actually offer any of my intuitive personalized sessions or any of my oracle card readings, if anybody wants specific readings, for a significantly lower price. I don't know the math and what percentage off that ends up being, but I am going to have it for $111, which is an amazing price, for the next 24 hours, which you can go ahead and book, and you can put your booking for any date. I'm probably just going to do it for July, but if you book it within 24 hours, you can get that amazing special of 111. That's a very auspicious number for me, and so I don't know, I just felt called to offer that today. And so that will be something that can further support anybody who's feeling like they need that. If any of you guys have any questions right now, I'd be happy to answer it. Jonathan says, so good time to visualize. Yeah, absolutely. Spend some time. Try to clear out anything any of the yucky energy out first, if you can, and then get yourself into a very clean space, headspace, and then start doing your visualization. And if you want to write it down, if you can write it pen to paper, it's a lot more potent, it's a lot more powerful. Do that as well. And it's nice to do that because then you can always take the time months down the road to look back at it and see what things did end up transpiring, what things did come alive. And again, we always want to focus on what we do want when we're kind of in that energy of what we want to manifest rather than what you don't want. If you're finding that when you're visualizing or you're meditating and you're focusing on what you want to bring in, if you have a thought that doesn't really resonate with you or a thought creeps in that you're like, oh, I don't want that, then what I always say is just simply say cancel. Or you can think of the delete button on your computer. So if you're writing something and you don't like it, you just delete it, right? Or a stop sign, you just hit stop to it. But I like the delete or cancel because it just kind of clears it and then you replace it with something more wholesome and supportive for you. So I find that's a really, really good thing to use anytime when we're going through our thoughts and our days and moving forward with that. All right. Any other questions? It was so nice to connect with all of you. It's really nice to see a lot of you on here that I haven't seen in person in a long time. But I hope you guys all have an amazing day and this energy should lift in a good couple of days and start to feel a little bit lighter. But really focus on what it is that you do desire. And even if you want to take it a step further, start writing out the action steps for that and how you can move it forward. How can you move that idea or that dream forward? Because the thing is, right now, as you know, the past couple of weeks, a lot of people have been feeling tired. It may last a little bit longer. So I find if we have things written down in terms of what we want to accomplish or we want to do and break it down by the week and by the day, that can really help us to just at least like do one task that's very important on that list and then the next day and so on and so forth. So don't over push yourself, but it is important to move the needle as well because we are in such a very like, what's the word I'm looking for? This is a big, it's a V word I want to come up with, like a big container, a big vortex. It's not the word I want, but that gives you the idea of what I'm talking about. Right now, it's a very big vibration that's here, and it's for anybody to tap into that. So it's a matter of doing that. So we really want to be able to move the needle. When you feel that spark of inspiration, follow it and get moving on those things on your list. And definitely drink lots of water because with all this going on energetically, we really need to use that to help cleanse out and to hydrate. But not only that, it's going to be really hot over the next couple of days. I did hear 40 degrees. So yeah, definitely do what you got to do to keep nice and cool. I love you all so much. Take care. Bye for now, Facebook. And we got YouTube here. Bye for now. And Instagram.